Welcome back after a little layoff. Great to see you back in the red and black colours. And what a game for you to come back in. A 2-2 draw in the Mayo Derby. First on the 21 level. And by God, it was a classic out there. Great game from yourself. You chipped in with a goal. But how do you sum up that enthralling 90 minutes?
Kind of what you said there. I mean, it's never easy against Castlebar at any age group. It's the same when we're playing senior. It's a derby every time, and you had it there again. It was, I don't know what it was like to watch because I was standing on the pitch, but it looked great. Some good tackles going in, some good phases to play, and I don't know. I think we're a bit unlucky not to come out on top, but we'll settle with the 2-2 and just win the next games by more.
There was a brilliant start really when Keane Alpin put Westport 1-0 up after only 3 minutes, and Westport enjoyed being in a great position, just controlling the ball, patient in possession. But once Celtic switched their two right men on opposite flanks, the tide of the game changed and Celtic did get back into it. They had a goal disallowed before eventually equalising themselves. Shouts for offside, but good strike at the end from the follow-up.
Yeah, I think that was a good switch by them doing that. Kind of maybe took a bit of time to kind of cop on to what happened. But it's a learning curve. We'll be more switched on and know what's coming next time. But yeah, it kind of put us back on the back foot a bit for a bit.
Now the second half, Celtic took the lead early on, and much to the delight of their own faithful here. But after that, Westport just regrouped, rebalanced, made the changes, and the game swung back into our favour. The supporters really got behind the team. They were really adding their voice to the sound of the crowd. I could actually hear them over the far side. The supporters being absolutely brilliant tonight, in fairness. But then that equaliser, I was chatting to Dia briefly about it. When I would describe it as a set-piece routine practice off the training ground, he called it the C-team set-piece routine. Just go into more detail on that.
Well, when me and G used to play for the C-team a couple of seasons back, we had this routine where it was anywhere kind of near the box, and it was probably a bit too tight to curl it over and shoot. Dia would give me a nod, and I know he couldn't take it over the wall, so I'd run in behind. And I was looking at him there when he was lining up the free kick, and he nodded at me. I thought, okay.
I have to say, that was absolutely clever.
Yeah.
Really, really clever. And then when you look at the contentious offsides thrown in, I know you cannot really blame the ref because he's by himself. He doesn't have the assistant referees to give him guidance, which is totally out of control, really. So it's really hard to blame the ref in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all give refs stick during the game and stuff like that, but I mean, to be fair to him, if you don't have lineouts, it's awfully hard to judge who's offside and who's not. So there's going to be some calls that don't go our way. But even at that, we should have put a load more away. So kind of at the end of the day, the offside shouldn't matter to us if we had plenty of chances to seal it.
And there was plenty of chances. Celtic were really rattled at the end with their serious amount of pressure put on their goal. And if any of them went in, it could have been the 3 points. They had one, Celtic cleared one off the line, I think, and you were forced a few corners, and it was desperation stuff from them, really. And once they went down to 10 men, they were just literally hanging on by their fingernails. But at the same time, really, Celtic probably fancied one little chance from a counter-attack.
Yeah, I mean, we were probably the ones who were dominating more. But there was a few chances there when they counter-attacked on us and they could have got them themselves. But I'd say if the game went on a bit longer, we might have snuck one in. But we'll know we have to take our chances now from when we get them, because 90 minutes isn't enough sometimes to put them away.
And I'm sure when the highlights will be going up of the goals later on, I say people will be looking back and put this not amongst the only YouTube highlights. They'll probably put this one into Westport United Gold.
Yeah,
given how class the game was from a neutral and from both set of supporters to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'll certainly look back at your stream of my goal because I don't come often, so I'll have a look back at that. And even Keel's goal was great, started off great. it's good to get one that early on, and Celtic's goals were good now to be fair to them as well. I think all around it probably was a great game to watch. It was just a shame not to come out on top.
And all I can say is be looking forward to you getting more match time again, and with the first team and the under-21s, and wish you the very best of luck on your rehabilitation after being off for a few weeks.
Yes, thanks, Kevin.
Thank you yourself. There's the Mew Derby, the first on the under-21 level on this occasion. There has been many Mew Derbies over the years. Some are disappointing, some are classics, but tonight does go down as an absolute belter of a game. 2-2 draw, nip and tuck all the race, take first blood, then peg back, going 2-1 down and pulling back again, could have won it, and it could be a case of if what, who what, and whatever else that could be thrown in. A lot of hypothetical moments you could look back on. What's your own thoughts?
My own thoughts is that it was a very high quality game from both sides, and a really intense game where both teams had passages of some dominance. I'm not sure if I've ever been involved in a game or not before where everybody on the sideline clapped for a draw, just in appreciation for the effort that was put in. Eric Eaton, the referee, said to me it's the best game he has ever reffed at any level. He really enjoyed reffing it. And I said to the lads afterwards that they must feel really sort of privileged and to play in a game like that, because it was, for both Celtic and for Westport United, what's better than on a summer's evening on a good pitch, playing in a high intensity game with your friends and against your challengers, and to play in such a high quality game. I thought it was really, really top quality. I think some of the decisions might have gone against us. I think the Celtic first goal was clearly offside by a long way, but it's very difficult when the player's running back from an offside position. We had chances to win it, but Celtic had some chances as well. I think we dominated the second half, and I think we had a couple of ropey periods in the first half. We started really well. Got the first 15 minutes of the game, we played some really, really top quality football. Then Castlebar Celtic got back into it a little bit more, but the first half was probably even enough. And then the second half, I thought that we were more dominant, and Celtic were trying to hit us on the break a little bit more. I don't know if that's a true reflection, but I suppose when you ask the question, how did I see it? I think that's the way I see it, Kenneth. But my overriding emotion is, wow, a really high quality game.
And the supporters here were really vocal over this side of the complex, really getting behind the team on every attack in the second half, and when it came to a couple of the key moments, you could really hear them getting right behind the lads, and if they were unhappy with the referee, they let their feelings know too. Yeah. I know it was very difficult, in fairness, by himself, kind of concerning the offside. If there were assistant referees, it would have been a help for a game like this with such high quality and tight calls.
It's very difficult for a referee in the middle of the park to try and sort of, in a split second, view right across the pitch and decide whether a player is level or offside. So every referee is going to get a couple of those wrong, and you just have to kind of accept that. And I thought Eric had a good game overall, and he's a good guy, and I think he's a good referee. I like to see him coming anyway to referee in our games, because he's just an honest, good sportsman himself.
But when you look back, Keane Halpin put us in the lead, and dominance, being patient on the ball in the first 15 or so minutes. But the big change for Celtic was when they switched the two right men on opposite flanks. That actually swung the pendulum towards them for the remainder of the first half, when they grew into the game. They had the goal disallowed before eventually getting the equaliser. And then come the second half, they made the change at half time. They got 2-1 up. And you think to yourself at that point, advantage Celtic, could they go on from there? But when you made your changes, it swung the game back to us, and we just really pressurised them. And they were always dangerous on the break. But that was a really, really clever set piece routine involving Dia and Killian for that equaliser.
Yeah, straight from our C team. We used to do that. We used to do that free kick when we were doing the C team, and Dylan said it to Killian. And in Killian's position, you can just imagine as a striker, the ball kind of looping over your head, and you're willing the ball come down, so I can hit it. But I finished it really well. I thought as well, Noah scored what I thought was a legitimate goal. He went up and he powered a header into the net and was given for a free out, but I don't think Noah did anything wrong. Again, a very difficult call to make, but Noah's eye was on the ball all the time and put the ball in the net. So they the disallowed goal, we the disallowed goal, a couple of contentious offsides, probably on their end too. So, I think it's just privileged to have been here and to have been involved in that game, because I think it was one of the best games I've ever been involved in. Just so proud of the lads, the Westport lads. I thought Fiona Hoare had an outstanding game at number 6 and just kept getting better and better and better and demanding the ball all the time. Killian White, just back from 5 weeks out, had an outstanding game. Not fully fit yet, had an outstanding game. I think every player that played for Westport today played really well.
And when you look back at the end of the game, some people might look back and say it might be 2 points dropped. Some people might say it's a point gained. But from a neutral looking at that, I don't think they see it either way. They see it as a point shared after that sort of quality football.
Yeah, and we have 2 games left, and Celtic has 1 game left. And if we win, if both of us can win those games, it means we will tie. There will be a tie at the end of the season. I'm not quite sure yet whether that will be decided on goal difference or whether it will be left if it ends up like that. But there's still 2 games to go before we even consider that.
And both of them are away to SNF and Ballina.
Yeah, Ballina won this evening, so that would be an easy game to play.
And just got word about the B team away to Clare Morris this evening. Unfortunately, it's hard luck for them. They were beaten 4-0, just checked the app.
Okay.
And I'm sure whatever happened, they'll probably learn something from tonight.
And I know John and Josh will be disappointed with that, but they have to sort of understand that they are doing a really important job giving football to the lads who just aren't quite ready for the A squad yet. And that's the way you have to look at it. That's the way I've had to look at it over the last number of years when I've had support teams.
And this weekend we can change our focus between the lads involved tonight being involved in the Super League away to Castlebar Celtic on Saturday evening. That will probably hopefully keep their run going on the back of that cup win on Sunday. A lot of confidence in the side, and of course here the B team against Ballinrobe Town, top of the table clash. That's an even bigger game.
Yeah, and we've had really close and competitive games against Ballinrobe over the last 2 or 3 years, and I don't expect it to be any different on Saturday evening. Again, I would love to see the same crowd down here again. It makes such a difference to the occasion, and I think the players respond to it when they see a good crowd on the sideline. So we'd ask for the same again, please. And it's a really important game, because if we can win that game, we will go top of the division, and that's a really good position to be in.
It is indeed, and like you said, the crowd here this evening gave the lads a lift, and if the crowd keeps coming to other games, be it first team or B team, it'll drive the lads on and give them more encouragement and more confidence.
Yeah, I know it was great. It was great to see the crowd and great to hear the crowd. You can have a crowd, but they won't be vocal. But this evening they were vocal, and it was just great.
And that makes a huge difference. It really drives the players on, and it'll help the crowd. The players appreciate the crowd.
Yeah, it's a two-way reciprocal relationship.
So all I can say is we can look forward to in confidence. And you're 2 out under 21 games left, and if you get the results required, possible playoff, who knows? And of course, the B team Saturday evening get a win, and it puts you in a good place in the table. And the first team Castlebar away, we know it could be a bit of a sticky one, but the confidence they're showing at the moment, getting another win, it'll probably put them into a good position to aim for third.
Yeah, so there's a lot to play for in every age group and in every sector of our adult game now. And you'll know, Adam, or you'll know, Kenneth, that after the final on Sunday, the players went out for a drink, and I remember looking across the number of tables as the lads were just having their first drink after the game, and there were under 18 players, under 21 players, junior B players and junior A players, all mixed and all laughing and socialising together, and you couldn't really tell who was who because it was just one happy group. And that has been the agenda from the beginning of the year. Get the adult group of players into one big happy group where they can all enjoy football and move up and down and sideways between the teams. And that's happening now, and I think it's for the betterment of the club.
And it's important that we stay united in a development of the players. And after the last couple of weeks, what we've seen with the under-21s, the under-18s, and both junior teams, we're on the step in the right direction.
I think we are. I firmly believe that we're on an upward curve, Kenneth.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.